Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Rambling Life Coach Radio Show. I'm your host, Armand Dupuy, and in this show, I'm going to talk about my journey into consciousness. And if you listen to this whole show carefully, you'll understand how my journey into consciousness will give you some practical guidelines so that you can evolve your being in the fastest possible way to achieve the ultimate which is possible for you in this lifetime. So, my journey into consciousness will point the direction of your journey into consciousness, because ultimately it's not about my path, but rather it's about you. All I can do for you is point the direction into the awesome power of your inner being. Now, before I begin, remember to subscribe, ding the bell, and turn on your notifications, because you're not going to want to miss any of my shows, especially on consciousness. So let's get started. Well, it all began in the summer of 1955, the summer that I turned 14 years old. Now, it's a bit of a funny story. This is something at the age of 14, was myself and a couple of friends, a couple of buddies. And what happened is that we discovered a little booklet on some mind experiments, mental experiments, if you will. And anyway, so we, of course, teenagers, we decided to try it out. And one aspect of this worked incredibly well. Now, my two friends were impressed, but I was blown away. It totally changed the whole direction of my life. Now, I'm not going to get into exactly what happened in that mental experiment. I mean, that's a whole show all by itself. And I'll guarantee that if there was a million people listening to me live right now, and not one would be able to guess what happened that turned my life around like that. Like I said, I will do if you want to know about it. Okay, leave it in the comment, and I'll do a show on it and explain the whole thing. I never told anyone about this for decades. Only 3 of us knew about it. And when I finally did tell my youngest daughter just a few years ago, a couple of years ago or so, anyway, she dubbed it the Eric moment. And so I'll have to do a show if there's a demand for the Eric moment, because it'll kind of blow you away. Anyway, this happened. And so from that point on, for the next 17 years, I did a lot of studies, research, and so on. Like, it happened when I was 14. And at age 17, I dropped out of high school and joined the Canadian military in communications. I was in the service for 9 years, saw service in Germany and Africa. I was in the Belgian Congo, and I was in communications, and we were running the whole communications for the United Nations building at the time. But anyway, what's important about my military career is that I spent 2.5 years in Germany. And during that time, I mean, like in Germany, we did have access to a British Army bookstore, if you will. But I was also buying books from the US, from California, books on consciousness, different aspects of it, and so on. So I really did a lot of studies back in those days. Anyway, make a long story short, when I came back from Europe and eventually got out of the military, back to my hometown for a little while, did a form of meditation also, and it was mantra meditation. I didn't do a whole lot for me at the time. And fast forward to 1972, and this is important because this is going to affect your journey when you understand what happened in my journey. And it started in January of 1972, where I was taught how to access different states of consciousness. And it was a 4-day course, 12 hours a day, and you came out of it with the developed skill of being able to access actually the alpha brainwave levels, if you will, the place you are when you're normally asleep and dreaming, to be able to do that consciously. And so that was quite a revelation to me, because now all the theories and the books and all the things that I had studied kind of came together. Wow, this is something else again. And to actually, go at it from an experiential point of view, if you will. And so, how can I put it? I didn't really agree with the direction that the people I was associated with were taking it and so on. And I saw other ways of doing it to help people much better, faster, to apply the same tools and techniques. And within 3 or 4 months, I was actually teaching it. But anyway, that's another story. Now, come November of 1972 is when I received the next key into my journey into consciousness. And in that November of 1972, a couple of momentous things happened. My youngest daughter, Nicole, was born. It's a whole other story by itself. But I received a gift of knowledge. Knowledge in the context of a gift of the tools, the techniques, the knowing of how to actually tap into the infinity, the infinite life force, the divine force which powers each one of us. How to actually tap into it. Not a belief system, experience we're talking about. A path of knowledge in the context of knowing as opposed to believing something. So here I was in 1972 having a whole different insight into the human mind, which I'd been studying for a few years. And now tapping into, call it on a spiritual level, if you will. It's the way people would look at it, you know. Now, here was the problem that I ran into. The people that there was an association. I was associated with the Mind Institute in Toronto, Canada at the time. That was probably the by far the most advanced organization in mind development in the city, probably in the country. And so I was part of that. And there was also a community of people who were doing this awesome meditation. They were growing on a whole different level. And I was the only person within my circle that was actually practicing and experiencing both. Nobody else was doing that. And the funny part here, for example, the people from the, let's say, the Mind Institute, the people I knew there, that circle, they thought that I was also involved in some kind of cult, okay? And the people involved in this meditation call it the spiritual path as opposed to the mental path. These people, to them, I was also into mind stuff, you know, duty. As a human being, I mean, what are you as a human being? What are you? What do you know for sure about you? Well, first of all, you have a body. You can't say, I am the body. You can't look at your hand and say, I am the hand. No, you would say, I have a hand. I have a body. So you're not the body. You have a body. And you can't say, I am the mind, because you have a mind. You can't say, I am mind, because what about the body, you see? So you have a body, you have a mind. More importantly, you're alive. You're alive. I mean, think about it. I mean, who thinks about your life in this way? The fact that you are alive. One day you were born, one day you'll be dead. In the meantime, you're alive. Imagine this. Here's the beauty here. That if you can understand this simple point on my journey, is this. Let's suppose, for example, right now, lying on the floor beside you is a dead man. He just died 10-15 minutes ago of natural causes. Now, what is the difference between you and that dead person? Now think about this, seriously. What's the difference between you and the dead person? Of course, the simple answer is you're alive and he's dead. Okay, so my question is, what is that? He's dead, you're alive. So that life, you know, scientifically we call that the life force, whatever that is. You know, the life force. It's a force. It's the life energy. Okay? So, here's the thing. Listen carefully here. This is really simple. I've taught this to kids, by the way. Is that you, as a human being, You're alive. You're conscious. You're thinking. You are so intimately, I mean intimately connected to the life force that powers you, that when your life force leaves the body, you leave with it. It's never happened and never will that somebody's life force leaves and say, hey, my life force is gone, but I'm still here. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way at all. You leave with it. Okay? Scientific fact. Right? Life is gone. He's dead. Hey, Joe, wake up. No, Joe ain't there no more. Now, let's take a little tiny step, not a big leap, but a little tiny step into your understanding of your own nature. If you are that intimately connected to it, would it not make perfect sense that you should be able to tune into it, experience it while you are alive? Think about it. The infinite powers you. And I'm telling you that it is possible very quickly for you to begin to experience that. Experience those different states of consciousness, a combination of mental and spiritual. And so, basically from that point of view, I was beginning to use these tools and techniques to change a lot of things in my life. And the fact that I've survived and, through a lot of the crap that I've been through in my life. And okay, in the summer of 2021, I'll be 80 years old. So I've seen a bit of stuff. And this understanding, this inner knowledge, is what, first of all, has kept me sane, but thriving in most circumstances. Now, as I grew and evolved using these tools, I got a little smarter. I'm developing my mind. I'm tapping into infinite energy. And I'm getting a little smarter, And it kind of happened in the early in 1981. At that time, a friend of mine and I, we had founded, I was the founder of the first memory school in Toronto. We were teaching memory and mind development. And some of my students in one particular class that I had, they were there for personal growth, right? Saying, Armin, how can I use these techniques? There's one class, almost everybody in the class, basically, and I paraphrase here, as a class, they had one question. Armin, how can I use these techniques to change my lifestyle so that I can keep my weight off? Oh, that's easy. Boom. Your weight loss system was born. Actually, that was 81. It wasn't until 96 that I perfected it. I taught many classes. But anyway, another story. How to lose weight without dieting and keeping it off easily. It's all about consciousness, by the way. That's another story. Again, if you want more information on that, I can leave it in the comments, and leave it in the comments, and I can and maybe do a show on it. Now, anyway, so here was the thing. These tools together. And from that, I began to learn a lot more about health and so on and so forth. As a result, when I perfected my system in 96, it was not really like a weight loss program, it was really like a health program. I was going to teach it last year. I changed my mind because the tools, the things that I teach for losing weight is integrated into my life coaching anyway. So it's all there, and that's another story. So basically, as that began to happen, I started to study the human body a bit more and realized that, hey, how long I hang around on this planet and how well I enjoy the trip depends if I take care of this body. And so, as I began to, be a bit more careful about my health and so on, physically, what I ate and so on or didn't, I came to that realization, and it evolved in my teachings over the years, that there are three critical areas, and this is what you really want to pay attention to. This is where my journey into consciousness is really boiled down to simple tools, getting rid of all the crap that surrounds these wonderful tools. And that's the problem. But basically, there are three critical areas in your life that you have to evolve in order to achieve the ultimate that you can achieve as a human being. Three critical areas. In the beginning, especially in these times, it's important that you really zero in and focus on those three areas of life. The first is your body. If you're not alive, you ain't got nothing. Okay? That's the bottom line, right? So you have to have a body. I don't know. And sometimes staying alive these days is hard to do, you know, especially in the US of A. So you have a body, and you have to learn the truth about how to look after it. And most of what people think is healthy things to do is a bunch of crap. Okay? I mean, look, people are trying to follow all these things. I mean, look at America, for example. Depending on who you listen to, somewhere between 70 to 80% of the whole U.S. population is overweight, and half are obese. Think about it. 80%. I mean, that is decadent when you think about it. It's decadent when you don't think about it. So what I'm getting at is that the knowledge that people are following is fake news. Otherwise, you'd get some results. It's all fake news. So this is the thing. This is the challenge physically, to get past the fake news, arrive at the essence of what's going on. Now, in my teachings, I give you simple tools and techniques. Use them, you get the results. You don't have to believe what I say. You know, here's a simple technique. Here's a technique that'll de-stress you. You try it. Oh, it works. Oh, okay. Next. Hello, somebody? Now, take charge of your mind. Listen, scientists tell us that we're using between 3 to 5% of our mental capabilities. 3 to 5%. People confuse the mind and the brain. They're two different things. The mind functions through the brain, and most of your brain's being used most of the time. But the mind, 3 to 5%, and let me put that in another way for you. If you are the smart one in the group of people you hang out with, at best you're using 5% of your mind. Think about it. What about the other 95%? Well, guess what? As I said earlier, I've been teaching people how to tap into that other 95% since 1972. It's simple. I've taught this to kids. You know, over the years, I mean, look, for a guy who didn't even finish high school, in my teachings and my courses over the years, I've had people from every walk of life. Doctors, lawyers, business people, university professors. I've had psychologists take my training and get blown away, because what they were getting from me was an experience, not theoretical stuff. Homemakers, children, athletes, simply taking charge of your mind. It's simple. It's fun. It's not hard. You don't have to learn all these systems and techniques and formulas and all that crap. No, simple understanding of how your mind works, click, 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 and things begin to change for you. To what? I don't know, whatever you want. I'm just telling you how to do it. My type of life coaching is not to tell you how to run your life. Say, look, here's some tools for your body. Here's some tools and techniques and understanding of your body. Here's some tools for your mind. And look, here's how you tap into the infinity which powers you. Think about that. Not some theory, not some religion. The religions have lost it. The original masters had the right teachings, but it got spun all out into all kinds of weird proportions, religions created by man. Jesus wasn't a Christian. He didn't create Christianity. Problem is that all these so-called Christians, none of the Christian religions that I know of, are following the basic fundamental teachings of Jesus. They're all into different belief systems. Why are there hundreds of different Christian religions? They're all supposed to be following the Bible, right? Guess what? There's different religions because they all believe something different. They don't know, they just believe something different. You follow the path that Jesus was teaching, and you'll know. You won't have to believe. You'll believe because you know. Because of experience. The kingdom that he was talking about is within you, not where you go after you die. In a different time and space, if you will, is tapping into that life force energy, the infinity that powers you. tapping into the matrix, if you will, consciously. Now, talk about the law of attraction. Guess what? That infinity which powers you will power and manifest everything you want. Here's the problem. Buried in your subconscious mind are all these little programs, little apps, if you will, millions of them, and together they control your whole life. Because that infinity, that infinite knowledge, can only manifest in your life by flowing through and getting filtered through all of your apps in your subconscious mind. All these false belief systems and so on and so forth. Now, imagine if you begin to learn how to change those apps to make it go the way you want it to go. It'll flow. The energy will flow. The universe will provide. But you have to be that channel, know how to do that. It's real simple. But everybody's teaching it wrong, practically. It's changing. Some people are coming out with the truth, but it's slow. So if you learn how to take charge of your mind, how to change the little apps in your subconscious mind that are preventing you from succeeding in whatever endeavor you're trying to succeed in, be it in business or weight loss or relationships or whatever. You don't need to learn, 7 ways to attract your soulmate or whatever. No. Learn how to tap within. And that's a journey. It's actually a journey of the heart. And that's the heart. That's the soul of your being. You want to attract your soulmate? Simple. Tap into your own soul first, and you'll attract the soulmate. The rest is details. And so, as I evolved with that, then I moved out to the west coast of Canada. Make a long story short, got teaching some weight loss classes and so on and so forth. And in the process of doing that, it came out that I had used to teach this course in achieving the different states of consciousness. They started bugging me for it. And this is important in this journey of yours, because you'll understand what's going on here. So they kept bugging me to, okay, later, we'll do a course. Okay, we'll do a course. And they kind of get me talked into it. So it was the fall of the year, and over the Christmas holidays, I put the course together. It was a 2.5-day course. And they all thought that this was the course that I used to teach. It wasn't. It was brand new. Okay? Because I had taken the course I used to teach completely. I added in a method of tapping into the life force energy and blended it together. Now, nobody, to the best of my knowledge, had ever done that before, or maybe since, in our modern history. I don't know. If they have, it's not really out there. So the thing was that I'd been teaching this course, used to be a day and a half, for a long time, when we had the school in Toronto. And I'd seen so many nice things happen and changes in people's lives that it took a lot to impress me, as far as the changes that people were manifesting after the training. But when I put that first course together, when I taught that first course, it's like not only was everybody in the course blown away, I was blown away. Because this was something different. This was something different. Anyway, so it went on from there. Now I don't teach live courses on the weekend like that again. There's avenues I'm looking at that we could possibly do it on online, but again, I'm exploring that avenue. But we don't really need it anymore, because later on, make a long story short, I created an audio, and I call it guided meditation. And I have to qualify that term guided meditation. You need to realize that guided meditation, any guided meditation, including mine, is not really meditation. Now, I'm only using the term guided meditation because you understand what it is that I mean when I say that. Okay? Now, the guided meditation takes you to another whole new level. Now, so this knowledge is priceless. If I was going to charge on the open market for, private coaching, probably go for a few $1,000s a month for half an hour to an hour once a week. That's what the going prices for this kind of level of coaching goes for. But nobody that I know of is actually teaching all three, actually has expertise in all three critical areas, from the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, if you will. You've got lots of experts in each area, but they don't have the expertise in the other two. You see, that's the problem. So you need like 3 different coaches, but then they're going to cross paths a bit and not agree, and then you got more confusion in your life. So what I've done is, not only do I have expertise in all 3, is I've put it together in a way that it balances with all the crap that goes on around it. Simple tool here, try it. It works. Another simple tool, oh wow, that's awesome, And some things are going to take some practice, but the practicing on this journey is fun. It's actually fun. And it's nice also when you can see your progress that you're achieving on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. You can see your whole evolution of your being, of your understanding, as you begin to experience the depth of your being. And from that will come your inspiration as to what you want to do in your life. Not Armin's path, no. Again, like I repeat, all I can do is give you the tools, the techniques. Try them, they work. They don't, you can confront me on a regular basis. Now, how's that going to happen? Well, this is something that I've decided because of the pandemic. And this is very important. Is I'm forming a whole new community. A community based on those 3 principles of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual blended together. The whole community. It'll be like a mini Twitter, but only for private members. And within it, there'll be all kinds of free webinars and so on, and posting questions and answers, and people sharing information, a proper social network. But it'll be a private social network because then, we can put what we want on it. Like, on a lot of the platforms, whether you're talking about Facebook or YouTube, Twitter, or whatever, you have to be careful what you say. I mean, if I told you everything that I know about certain subjects, they would close down my channel. But within the privacy of our own social network, that, then we can share everything, So basically, what's it going to cost? Well, that should be a membership, a paid monthly membership. This is the way that it's set up. But during the pandemic, it's going to be free. You got to join, put in your name and email, join, and that's it. You can go in there, create your profile, make postings, and, comment on people's postings and stuff. It'll be a full, proper social network. We're in the process of building it right now. It's not that difficult. We have all the foundation to be able to do that with. And, when it's ready to go, I don't know when you're listening to this, but when it's ready to go, the link to it will be description below. So it's going to be a free membership. What about after the pandemic, if that ever happens? After the pandemic, we'll make that decision at that time whether we can stick to this model, which will be supported by donations, totally. Those who have a little bit can share, help to support it for other people who don't, and so on and so forth. Especially in these times of high unemployment, I think that's critical. Call it my little way of giving back. So the membership is going to be free. What about when the pandemic's over? If we go to a paid model, the people who join on the free membership will be grandfathered in, free membership for life. Okay, so don't worry about it. So as long as you get in on the freebie, you'll be there. Now, so what's the catch? Well, the catch is that I want to help as many people as possible to evolve their being on a path of knowledge, not belief systems, knowledge, knowing, because it's coming from deep within you. It's a journey of the heart, like I said. But everything that you need to know can't happen in the community as a whole. If you really want to accelerate your growth, you need to have classes. You need classes once a week for about an hour in a classroom, small classroom situation, where you're learning the techniques, the tools, the questions, the answers, and so on, and evolving your being. To have everything, to really have it together, for most people, somewhere between 3 to 6 months, you're really tapping into levels of consciousness that you never dreamed of before. So really, you need to make that kind of a commitment that you'll come to class once a week and so on and so forth, and practice the simple tools that I give you. It's simple. You won't have to change your belief systems or your religion or anything like that. Okay? And that's going to operate on a monthly payment, and the monthly payment will be a donation system. If you have nothing, you have to donate. If you want to be part of the community wholeheartedly, especially if you want to be part of the classes, I expect you to donate either time or money. If you have the money, please, it keeps the doors open. So to keep the doors open, it will depend on monthly donations from everybody that's in the class. If someone has no money at all, okay, well, talk to me, and okay, what are your skills? And even some of you who have money, what are your skills? What are your skills? How can you help? How can you help the community to grow? And some will become facilitators, eventually life coaches in their own right. But that's another story. And then there's nothing beyond that. There's nothing in the community. Like, you know, if you can give a few bucks once in a while, if you're in the class, I expect a donation once a month, whether it's $1 or $100, whatever it is you can afford, based on what you're getting out of it. You set the price. What's it worth to you? I mean, that's been the problem with my teachings over the years, is that if you don't charge enough, people have no respect for it. If you charge too much, the people who need it the most can't afford it. So by giving a donation, those that have can help the people who don't, and it's a community. It's everybody working together to support the growth of consciousness, and that's all we're talking about. Not to follow Armin's path. As you get on this journey, it's your own journey, and you'll experience that within your own inner being. So it's the perfect scenario. And there's nothing beyond that financially. That's it. Now I can only teach a few classes myself. And after that, because all of the classes that I teach will be recorded, then later on, from the students will come facilitators who will be the people who run the classroom, who run that particular class, and once a week hand out the link to the next lesson, and then in the classroom discuss it, and questions and answers and so on. But they have to be people who have been trained but also have gone through the process themselves. And that will evolve in the classrooms themselves. And of course, the donations, we're hoping it's going to be enough to give them a good income for the time they're spending to help other people to grow. And so if everybody's helping out, spreading the word, the more you spread the word, guess what? The more there's going to be a need for facilitators. Now you're talking about a paid position. You know, again, that's another story. And so that's my journey. And so the essence, to sum up what I've experienced in my journey, is those 3 areas of your life that you have to evolve in. You have to take charge of your mind. I mean, look, you know, a good example is weight loss, because I've really specialized in that also. You know, like if you're overweight, you are not in charge of your mind. If you're overweight, the advertisers are in charge of your mind. All I'm saying is, hey, why don't you take charge of it? I can show you how. It's easy. But you at least have to open yourself up to that possibility, you see. And so, in these times of pandemic, we don't know when it's going to be over. I mean, the economic fallout is going to be around for at least a good decade in North America. No doubt about it. 40% or so of the businesses that closed down have gone under. They're not going to reopen. Those jobs are gone. And the way you're going to survive, I mean, you're going to have to develop your mind, and so that you can use more of your mental capacity to go with the flow and survive, and not only survive, but thrive by seeing the opportunities. Because in hard times, usually the wealthy get wealthier. because everything collapses. The stock market collapses. The housing market collapses. The millionaires and billionaires wait and wait for it to drop down to the bottom and buy it all up. Now they control the show. It's all manufactured. So this is the thing. And this is what for you to realize, that first step is take charge of your mind. And that, I really encourage you, as soon as we've opened the doors to the center, the social network, get in there, participate. As soon as there's enough people, we'll start the first class, and you will have the results for yourself, which you can share in the community and so on, so everybody can see how these simple tools are helping everyone to evolve at a greatly accelerated rate of speed. And that's the bottom line. So you see, my journey into consciousness, in my journey of consciousness, I've really extracted the essence of different tools from different belief systems and cultures and so on, and got rid of all the stuff that was around them and put it together in a nice, simple, easy package that you can be walking a path of knowledge, a path of knowing, evolving your being, beginning to understand and know the awesome power that you have within your own being. And that's what this life is all about. If somebody is born and they live and they die, and during that lifetime they've never experienced the infinite power which powers them, the whole life has been a waste. So it's not my journey into consciousness. It's really about your journey into consciousness. All I can do is give you some guideposts. So I hope you enjoyed my journey into consciousness, because it should point out to you, if you've been paying attention, that your path to achieving the ultimate that you can become is to A, take charge of your mind, B, actually tap into the infinite divine energy which powers you, and C, have a body which is healthy enough to contain the other two. In other words, take charge of your life. So this concludes the show, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in the community down the road. And in the meantime, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell, place any comments. I really welcome anything, any subject to do with consciousness or health or mind. Put it in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer all of them. And on a lot of them, I'll do a show just on the subject. You may ask a question, and I'll do a show on that, Depends on how many people are looking for what the fastest, and so on and so forth. And so share it with all your friends, of course. It's quite a journey. And there's going to be a lot of these radio shows, because I can produce, I'll still do some videos, but I'll do most of my teachings in this format, because I can produce 5 times as much at least than if I'm doing videos on the whole thing, for a whole lot of technical reasons, okay? So anyway, hope you enjoyed the show, and have a great life.